The formula for permanent hair removal: relax. What is the connection between hair removal and relaxation, and why does it pay for you to relax? Before you rush to remove hair, stop for a moment and understand the hair cells, their point of view. This will pay off for you in the short term and the long term. When someone gets on your nerves, meaning something activates my nervous system through pain of some kind, raises alertness, raises an alarm. The solution, of course, is to calm the nerves, not to fight. In this video, we will talk about biological understanding hair cells, signals, and the nervous system. The simple understanding is that the pain of hair plucking is actually a message for you, and it is this: you are connected to the hair cells and to the factory that produces every single hair, which means that pain is a way for the hair cells to communicate with you. The hair is saying to you, hey, there is plucking here, pay attention. Of course you noticed, you are the one who did the waxing, and all that interests you is the pain, and why it exists at all, and why the body is like this, and how annoying it is. The story of hair cells, briefly. Hair has several roles, including temperature regulation and friction reduction. Every time you pluck hair, from the perspective of the hair cells, an event occurred that shook the walls of the hair canal. This shock is felt by the nervous system located outside the follicle, and it informs the brain of the intensity, which you experience as pain. The pain does not say, stop waxing. It says, you are connected. Now learn to speak through this channel of nerves that are connected to the hair cells. This is pain of neural communication, and that is our story. Pain that says, there is an open line here. I am connected to you. This is not a threat. It is a connection. And especially with hair plucking, the body is not warning that your life is in danger. It is warning that a direct neural channel has been activated. It does not judge. It simply transmits. And the slightly funny part is that we are used to interpreting every pain as something that needs to be silenced, instead of asking, okay, what is the message here? So yes, pain is an alert system, but sometimes it is not about danger, but about connection. And when you understand that, you stop fighting the body and start working with it. Why does hair removal hurt at all? 3 main reasons. The hair sits on a neural line. The hair follicle is wrapped in nerve endings. When you pluck hair, you are not pulling out a thread, but moving a sensory system. The pain says, a physiological event occurred here. Plucking is an extreme event. From the body's perspective, plucking is similar to a sharp pull, a localized injury, a boundary violation. Not a life-threatening danger, but an action that requires attention. That is why the brain must know. The body must know that the hair is gone. And this is the surprising part. Hair is an active component, not decoration. It is related to temperature regulation, sensation, microscopic protection. When it is suddenly removed, the body needs to update systems. So, why is pain important? Because without pain, you would pluck without control, without learning, without connection. Pain maintains a continuous connection between the brain and the cell. It says, I am here, pay attention to me. And the key point, the body is not against hair removal. It is against violent disappearance without prior notice. Once you understand this, pain stops being an enemy and becomes a smart gatekeeper, one that says, if there is change, then in coordination. The critical point, if the nerves were not there, you would not feel anything, but you also would not be able to influence anything, meaning the same connection that causes pain is exactly the connection that enables change. So yes, the nervous system sits like management with a headset, hearing everything, responding to everything, and passing the message onward. And whoever understands this stops fighting the follicle and starts speaking through the smartest channel in the body. Now let's understand how pain reaches the brain, so we can understand how we can also send a signal back to the hair cells. The plucking happens in the skin. The nerve endings around the follicle detect extreme pressure, unnatural stretching, a sharp spike. The signal runs to the brain through the spinal cord to the brain, but it does not arrive as general pain. It arrives with a precise address. In the brain, there is a map of the body, a real map called the somatosensory map. On this map, there is an area for the armpit, an area for the leg, an area for the face, an area for the bikini line. And when you pluck a hair in the armpit, exactly the light for the armpit turns on. That is why you do not say, it hurts somewhere, but, ouch. Here, exactly here. So who actually knows where? Not the skin, not the follicle, the brain. The skin only sends a code. The brain translates it into location, intensity, type of sensation. The brain is not just aware. It knows exactly where the story happened. The brain is a coordination center, not just a pipe. Why does the information have to reach the brain? Because the follicle does not work alone. It is part of a network. The signal rises to the brain. The brain asks, where? How strong? What is the context? And then it decides how to respond. The response does not have to be movement. It can be a change in neural tone, release of substances, a change in blood flow, a change in the cell's level of alertness. So, yes, it goes to the brain and then comes back, but not as returning pain, rather as a state. The brain is like a conductor. The nerve reports, the brain interprets, and the command that returns is increase, lower, protect, or relax. Why is this critical to understand? Because if the brain were not involved, pain would be just noise, without meaning, without future change. But because it is involved, every plucking is recorded, every experience is learned, and every pattern can change. Bottom line, the body does not work in a small closed loop. It works in a smart feedback loop. Information rises to the brain so that the response that returns is adapted, intelligent, and precise. When pain is one time, it is just an event. When pain repeats itself, it becomes a neural pattern. When the body repeatedly experiences burning, penetration, plucking, it learns. This area is under attack, and this affects chronic alertness, sensitivity, overreactivity. One of the side effects of sending a calming message to hair cells is a significant decrease in pain during plucking, or even no pain at all. So how does pain weaken when the system calms down? Pain is volume, and the volume is controlled by the nervous system. When you are calm, the brain lowers the intensity of the signal coming from the nerves. It activates an internal braking system, like a mute button. Substances are released that raise the pain threshold. Less alertness, less interpretation of threat. When you are stressed, the same stimulus equals more pain. When you practice guided imagery, a feeling of quiet, there is no longer a need for production. It changes the overall tone of the nervous system, lowers alertness, lowers alarms. The pain calms quickly. Very quickly it hurts less. Sometimes you do not feel pain at all. Meanwhile, hair growth changes more slowly. A hair cell does not respond to a command. It responds to a continuous pattern, consistent calm, less alertness, less need for production. Not immediate like pain, but more stable. So why sometimes it really no longer hurts to pluck? And this is a super important point. Not because the hair understood and stopped, but because the nervous system does not perceive a threat. Therefore, the pain threshold rises and plucking hurts less. And so the sensation weakens. This can happen even while hair production has not completely stopped and alongside gradual thinning. Calming does not arrive in an ambulance of pain. It turns off the siren of the whole system. Therefore, pain can weaken very quickly. But deep biological change, like stopping hair growth, requires a bit more consistent calm. What is pain? Pain is an alarm. Not the wound, not the plucking, not the hair, but the alarm the brain activates. For example, a car alarm. Someone touches your car. The car does not hurt. It makes noise, so you will pay attention. That is how the body works. Something happens. Plucking, heat, current, the nerves report. The brain says, maybe there is danger here, and it activates an alarm equals sign pain. Pain equals pay attention, something unusual happened. What is calm? Calm is quiet. Alarm canceled, not because nothing happened, but because the brain decided this is not dangerous. Now the connection to hair. When there is repeated plucking, pain, struggle, the brain learns this area is dangerous. And then the nerves are alert. The pain is strong. The body works and protects. But when there is calm, safe imagery, a feeling that there is no need to fight, the brain learns something new. This area is calm. There is no threat. And then the alarm weakens. The pain decreases. The body does not need to be on standby. What calms down? The nerves around the follicle, the alarm in the brain, the local alertness. And when there is no alarm, the pain weakens. The tension drops. The body does not operate in emergency mode. And then also comes the happiness of smooth skin. Not because you won, but because the body relaxed. How do you calm hair cells? One simple image, not a story. You do not need a movie, just one fixed image. For example, smooth skin, a quiet area, a closed resting factory, and a sentence in your head, for example. There is no need for activity. Everything is calm. The sentence is less important than the feeling. Short repetition, this is the secret. Not an hour, not drama. 1 or 2 minutes a day, even twice a day if it feels right. The nervous system learns from consistency, quiet, repetition, not from effort. What not to do. Critical. Do not fight the hair. Do not be angry at it. Do not command. Do not constantly check if it is working. Checking equals alertness. Alertness equals alarm. How will you know it is working? The hair responds last. The nerves calm first. When hair cells feel safe, they have no reason to work. And that is the whole point. Quiet, safety, less activity. So what does pain actually say? It does not say stop. And it does not say this is bad. It says the cells are under stress. Bottom line, pain in hair removal is not an enemy. It is proof that you have a direct communication line with your hair cells. And when you understand the language of that line, you can stop fighting, stop hurting, and start managing. Not by force, not by magic, but through simple cellular understanding. When stress is reduced, there is no need for production. Why does calming hair sound a bit strange? Because we are used to one model. There is a problem. Apply force. The problem disappears. But hair is not a problem. It is a biological response. So what is the solution? Not to convince cells not to control them, but to lower emergency mode. When there is no emergency, there is no need to produce, no need to repair, no need to protect. It is not strange to calm hair. It is strange to fight the body and expect it to cooperate. And when you understand this, calm no longer seems strange or different, but simply natural. See you in the next video.